What is going on, YouTube people? Today I took two trades, and I wanted to go over those real quick and talk about, really just talk about the trades. So today, I was looking originally at the beginning of the day to trade the opening range break, and I have a couple of indicators that kind of are used as confluence for most of my trading. They are these two lines here. This is the 200 SMA, and the blue line is the 20 SMA. So one goes back 20 candles, one is 200 candles. At a glance, it allows me the opportunity to know whether we're trending up or down. And again, I don't use it a lot, but I use it typically as additional confluence to keep me in or out of trades. This morning, I was looking at the opening range break. I like to look at it every morning, every day, just to see if an opportunity presents itself. And we ranged for the first little bit, but once we broke below it, I was looking for the opening range break. I was also keeping an eye on this 200, the 200 SMA, and the 200 SMA was going up, right? So if it tracks the last 200 candles and we are trending upwards, I am probably less inclined to be taking a short position when the market has been, at least over the past 200 candles, have been averaging fairly bullish. So I was keeping an eye on that stuff. Again, the 20 SMA was dropping, at least from the open, pretty heavily. So I was keeping an eye on that. I didn't feel too comfortable taking any short positions here. It would have been a perfect setup, but again, I just didn't take it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see my entry a little bit more clearly. So here's the break below, and the first trade I took was right at the 10:21 a.m. candle. This was starting to see some support on this on the 20 SMA here, and we looked like we had some decent volume buying right around from like 9:15 to 10:15 to 10:20, and I was keeping an eye on this, and we weren't making too many breaks below it. I feel like we were finding some sort of support here. So I was keeping an eye on that, and I figured, hey, this is a lot of volume was coming in, so I entered on this candle here with a lot of volume. I kept my stop pretty much at this low here. This was the easiest low. I kept my risk pretty, this is not correct. I was actually targeting this high here because we had a little bit of resistance here earlier at 22,516, and so the risk to reward was just about over 2, so I felt pretty comfortable taking this on. I was trading one contract on NQ, so this was about a $400 loss, and I felt comfortable about it. Again, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some, but I got stopped out, and this is actually the very stop that I got stopped out was also the thing that brought me back and made me realize I think this actually is a decent trade. So it was a perfect stop hunt. It took the liquidity down here right at 1024, took the liquidity and perfectly bounced. And I want to show you the candle because I was looking at the 1 minute at this point. I was not on the 15-second chart. But the 1 minute candle was actually what sold me on my entry. So if you can see this, let me actually zoom in a little bit more. So this right here is the 1024 candle. This is a very, very bullish candle. And I saw a lot of selling pressure at the 1022 candle. I saw an indecisive doji candle here at 1023. And then the single candle that came down and stopped me and potentially a lot of other people out, grabbed some liquidity here, and then started to take off. Once this candle closed as bullish as it did, I entered on this one. I got a pretty decent entry here, and then I just played the waiting game. And I kept my stop here was, again, it was my original target from the first trade. I just re-entered after it took liquidity. Obviously, in hindsight, I should have waited for some sort of either this candle probably should have broken this high and then retraced, or looked for some sort of like liquidity sweep down here before entering. But, you know, it is what it is. On this particular trade, I entered two contracts very quickly. The first contract This was my average right here. But the second contract came on very quickly because I started to see the volume moving in my favor pretty heavily. And I kept my stop actually even tighter, but I kept it below this kind of, I'm not even going to call it a swing low here, but this section of candles here. And I didn't get stopped out. I was very fortunate. I kept it right below this kind of swing section here, and then I let it play out. Now, this was a little slower because if we zoom out, it ended up, I was very fortunate. I got ticked out, hit my my profit target here, and then went the opposite direction. So this is, I guess, in the sense for today, this is against the trend, but this right here, if you're looking at the 200 SMA and the 20 SMA, this is actually the area where it looks to be turning around. So you've got a couple of these crosses over the 20 and 200 SMA, and then for the rest of the day, it's a downtrend. And it's still kind of trending downwards. So I guess a little bit of like, I just found the right spot in this entire thing here, because this was not going to continue, obviously. But a couple things. The orb, in this particular case, did not work today, or at least did not work for my particular taste. I guess you could have entered the orb short here and then played just a quick scalp down this way. I'm looking for a little bit cleaner, probably more continuation than that. But in this particular case, this first trade was about 400, and this second trade was about 1,300 because I actually threw on 2 contracts. So this was a $1,300 trade. I finished the day just green over 1,000. This is on an evaluation, so I feel pretty good about this. Hopefully going to have a couple of trades similar to this to finish out the evaluation and get funded again. But overall, this was my trade today. Not every trade has to work out in your favor, but when you see the volume working in your favor, you start to see the liquidity sweeps moving in your favor. You have to be able to decide. And yes, you could say this was an impulse or chasing right afterwards, but again, it was the liquidity sweep down here of this 1 minute candle, the volume, the bullish candle, and the volume in the second one that got me into this contract. So it is what it is. I finished the day green, and you can't complain too much about it. But that's all I have for you. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.